Shalom, Chaverim. Welcome back to Beginning Hebrew. This is Russ Warren. Today we're talking about nouns. And nouns are something that we learn very early on in our life. They are persons, places, or things. We could also say they can be concepts and ideas as well. But here we're talking about some form of reality, whether concrete or abstract, that can act or be acted upon. And nouns are sort of the basis of any language, including Hebrew. Now, when we're thinking about nouns, we're getting into something that is very common in Hebrew, and that is suffixing. We do this as well in English when we want to make something plural. So we go from box to boxes, and ox to oxen, and from, any normal regular word, we usually add an S to show it's plural. In Hebrew, they suffix as well, but they suffix not only for gender, or for number, but also for gender. There we go. And so the base form of any noun is the masculine singular, and that will often be abbreviated by MS. So here we'll write the word that every Hebrew grammar loves because it's got that nice unchangeable long vowel in the middle, and it's one syllable, sus, or horse. So masculine singular, horse. This is the lexical version that you will see. It is the base version upon which we will suffix. Now, if we wanted to make this feminine singular, this is where we start that suffixing. In the case of sus, we add a comets hey onto the end, so that it becomes susa. Susa. Horse, mare, or female horse. It's nice that we have a feminine word for female horse in English. Now, most feminine nouns will end with the attached hey. It could also be, though, a tav. It depends. So if you think about the word for sun for a second here, bain, if that was feminine, comes bat, daughter. So we see that tav taken there. What about plural, though? What if we wanted to code for plural? Well, masculine plural is going to be adding a hirek yod and a mem. So here we have susim. You see that hirek yod and mem added onto there. Susim. If we wanted to do feminine, we would add a holam vav and a tav to get susot, mares, if you will. Now, what words in general are going to be feminine and which ones are going to be masculine? This is where things get tricky because many words are just masculine or feminine because they have to be one or the other. There is no neuter gender, but it's not necessarily saying anything about the word itself. In the case of sus and susa, it is saying something because you do have male horses and female horses. So things that are feminine will often be nouns that denote the female sex. Ish, isha, same sort of idea, man and woman there. But you also have things like body parts that are doubled. So eyes, hands, feet, legs, those sorts of things. Those are feminine nouns. Does that make eyes more feminine than masculine in reality? No. It's just a way of coding the word. And you also have countries and cities. So Yerushalayim, or Jerusalem, is considered a feminine noun in the Hebrew Bible. And this is put to great metaphorical effect where she's called daughter Zion or daughter Jerusalem, sometimes translated daughter of Zion or daughter of Jerusalem. And it's also used very well in the book of Judith, which is a book about purity, especially for ladies, in which Judith's town, Beulah, which means sort of young woman, virgin, that sort of thing, the wall is about to be broken down and she's about to be forcibly taken over by Holofernes, the Assyrian Babylonian general. And the sort of overtones, the metaphorical overtones, are very stark in that book. But we don't just have feminine and masculine, or singular or plural. We also have what's called the dual form. And this is often reserved for those words that come in twos, such as yad, which means hand. Now, yad itself is a feminine word, but when it takes the dual ending, it actually takes a modified masculine, which can be kind of confusing. You add a patak, a yod, a hirek, and a main to get the masculine. This is yadayim, yadayim. You see that patak and the yod make a diphthong, yadayim. So not quite the masculine plural, it's a little bit different. That patak signals that here we're talking about two hands. And of course these hands are small, I know, but they're not yours. They are my own. Now what if we wanted to do two mares, for example? Well, I'm running out of space a little bit here because this is a long word, but it looks like this. Susatayim, susatayim. And you see that once again we have that addition of the patak, yod, hirek, main, just at this point to sort of a modified singular feminine ending. And it shows that tav once again instead of just the added hey. And so we have here three different categories of number: singular, plural, or dual, and two genders, masculine and feminine, by which we can code every single noun. One of the more interesting dual nouns is Mitzrayim, which is the Hebrew word for Egypt, literally the two Egypts. And here we're talking about the upper and the lower Egypt, which we still talk about today. And on the screen, you're going to see a noun chart that will be sort of more laid out for you to see the differences between these words. You're going to want to memorize this chart, which will also be made available to you as a separate document. And these nouns, as you see them in this chart, are what we call the absolute forms. That is, the nouns in their pure, sort of unadulterated state. We're going to adjust this later on, but it's good to know right now what they are. They are nouns in the absolute state.